Congratulations. God chose you to hear this before 4 November, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations. Because you are not here by accident. You were chosen to hear this message before 4 November. There is something divine in the air, a shift that cannot be explained by logic but only understood by spirit. Many have crossed this moment unaware, but you have been called, handpicked by God, to awaken, to listen, and to prepare for what's coming. The fact that you are hearing these words right now is not coincidence, it is confirmation. The universe has aligned to deliver a message that will mark a turning point in your journey. God works in mysterious ways. He often speaks through signs, through sudden inspirations, through messages that find us exactly when we need them. You may have been seeking answers, asking for direction, praying for a sign that you're on the right path. And this message is that sign. You were meant to hear it before 4th of November because something new is about to unfold in your life. The divine is positioning you for a breakthrough, a revelation, or an opportunity that will require your awareness and readiness. This is your spiritual wake-up call. You see, when God chooses someone, he sets them apart. Not because they are better, but because their purpose requires refinement. Every delay, every heartbreak, every disappointment you faced was not punishment. It was preparation. God has been shaping your character, testing your faith, and building your endurance for the very moment that is approaching. What's ahead is not small. It's something only the chosen can carry. That's why you couldn't quit. That's why you couldn't fit in. And that's why this message reached you before time ran out. So, take this as a divine reminder that you are seen, guided, and protected. You are being called into alignment with something far greater than what you've been through. The pain you endured had purpose. The waiting had meaning. The silence was not absence. It was sacred preparation. The same God who brought you through the darkness is about to illuminate your next step. But before he does, he needed your attention. And that's why this message came before the 4th, because that date marks the beginning of your next chapter, a new frequency of faith, power, and manifestation. As you listen, open your heart, release your fear. Allow the words to enter not just your mind, but your spirit. This isn't about luck, it's about divine timing. Something beautiful is unfolding for those who are awake, aware, and willing to believe. God chose you to hear this. And when God chooses, he never makes mistakes. You are exactly where you need to be, at the exact moment you were meant to be here. Get ready, because what's coming after this will change everything. Divine timing is ever random, and ladies and gentlemen, understand this truth. Divine timing is never random. Nothing in your life has been a coincidence, not the delays, not the detours, not even the disappointments. Every moment, every encounter, every experience has been divinely orchestrated by the unseen hand of God, moving pieces into place in ways that human understanding could never comprehend. The reason you are hearing this message before 4th of November is because heaven's clock has struck the hour of awakening for your soul. The message found you at this exact moment because the season you have been waiting for is about to unfold. You may have thought things were falling apart, but in reality, they were falling perfectly into divine alignment. There are no accidents in God's plan. When you were denied what you thought you wanted, it wasn't because you were unworthy. It was because divine timing had not yet aligned. Sometimes, God delays what you ask for because he knows you are not yet ready to handle it. He will not give you a blessing that you are not yet prepared to carry. The waiting was never wasted, it was working for you. While you were waiting, God was shaping you, building strength in your patience, wisdom in your silence, and faith in your uncertainty. You are being called to see beyond what the physical eye can perceive and trust that everything happening in your life has been part of a divine design too precise to be accidental. Every soul has a divine clock, and when that clock strikes, nothing can stop what's meant to reach you. When the time is right, no force, no enemy, no delay can stand in the way of what's yours. You may have felt forgotten or overlooked, but God never forgets his chosen ones. He hides them for a season so he can reveal them in his perfect moment. There is a time for planting and a time for harvest, a time for obscurity and a time for visibility. You are standing on the edge of your unveiling. Everything you've lost, every tear you've cried, and every closed door was part of a divine sequence leading you to where you were always meant to be. Before the breakthrough, there is always a period of breaking down. But even in that breaking, divine timing is at work. Divine timing often disguises itself as delay. When doors close, it's not rejection, it's redirection. When people leave, it's not abandonment, it's protection. The path may not have made sense to you, but to God, it has always been perfect. You weren't late, you weren't early. You were right on time for the journey that would shape your purpose. Before 4th of November, this truth must take root in your spirit, that your life is unfolding exactly as it should. You have been walking a sacred timeline written by divine intelligence. The moments that broke you were meant to refine you, not define you. The nights you cried yourself to sleep were the nights heaven was rewriting your story. The silence you feared was not absence, it was preparation. When divine timing begins to move, it feels sudden, but in truth, it has been building all along. The seed planted long ago is finally ready to break through the soil. What looks like an overnight miracle is the visible result of unseen patience and faith. This is why God says, "Be still and know that I am God." Stillness is not inactivity, it is trust in motion. It is knowing that your waiting season was not empty, it was sacred. You have been prepared in hidden places for what is about to be revealed publicly. Every delay was working in your favor. Every closed door was protection from something not aligned with your divine path. And now, as the spiritual energy of November begins to open, God's timing is about to manifest in your favor in ways that will leave you speechless. Think of Joseph in the pit before he reached the palace. Think of David tending sheep before being anointed king. Think of Esther in obscurity before being chosen to save her people. Every chosen one must pass through the silence of divine timing. The world may not see your value yet, but heaven has already marked you. You are being positioned for recognition, favor, an opportunity that can only come when time and purpose collide. You didn't miss your chance. Your time simply hadn't come. And now it is approaching. That's why this message reached you now, because the divine clock in your life is about to strike now. The truth is, if things had happened when you wanted them to, they might have destroyed you. You weren't ready then. God was protecting you from premature success, from shallow victories that couldn't sustain your soul. He needed to strengthen your foundation before blessing you with the weight of your calling. The waiting was your training ground. Every delay taught you discernment. Every disappointment deepened your faith. Every unanswered prayer built your endurance. The waiting did not weaken you, it made you spiritually unshakable. When divine timing begins to move, you will realize why you had to wait so long. Before 4 November, take this as a divine reminder. Stop rushing your process. Stop comparing your journey to others. What God has for you cannot be taken by anyone else. You are on a unique timeline that unfolds perfectly in sync with divine order. Comparison will make you anxious, but trust will make you peaceful. What's meant for you will always find you, no matter how delayed it seems. When you live in alignment with divine timing, you no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg, you believe. You no longer doubt, you know. And when that knowing enters your spirit, everything changes. You start to move with confidence, even in uncertainty. You start to thank God for the delays because you see the purpose behind them. You no longer resist the flow of divine timing, you rest in it. Because you know that when God moves, He moves perfectly. There are no mistakes, no coincidences, no accidents, only divine orchestration. Your life is a masterpiece still being painted, and every brushstroke, even the ones that look like mistakes, are part of the divine image unfolding. So as this moment approaches, take a breath and trust the process. Let go of your fear of being behind. You are right on schedule. The divine clock has begun to move in your favor. What you've prayed for, cried for, and waited for is closer than you realize. The season of delay is ending, and the season of divine manifestation is dawning. Remember this truth: divine timing is never random. It is the invisible hand of God aligning everything for your highest good. What's meant for you is not lost. It's simply waiting for the perfect moment to appear. And that moment is now approaching. Amaja Saifas Komaiji. Piaparo Aspirat, ladies and gentlemen, hear this clearly. A major shift is coming. Something divine is moving in the unseen realm, and your spirit can already feel it. You may not have words for it, but deep within there is a stirring, a sense that change is near. This shift is not just physical or emotional, it is spiritual. God is repositioning you, aligning people, circumstances, and opportunities in ways that will soon make perfect sense. Before great transformation comes great tension, and what you've been feeling lately is not confusion. It's confirmation that you are standing on the edge of something powerful. This is the season where what was hidden will be revealed, where the unseen preparation will become visible manifestation. But for this shift to anchor in your life, your spirit must be prepared. Preparation begins with awareness. You cannot move into what God has planned while still carrying the weight of the old. Many have been asking for a breakthrough, but are still holding on to things God is trying to remove. The shift that's coming demands surrender. Surrender of old fears, limiting beliefs, toxic relationships, and the need to control outcomes. When God is about to move you to a higher dimension, He will start unsettling everything that is no longer in harmony with where you're going. People will drift away. Situations will change suddenly. Doors will close unexpectedly. This is not chaos, this is divine order at work. The shaking you feel is not destruction, it's construction. Heaven rearranging your life so that everything aligns with your purpose. The reason God told you to hear this message before 4th of November is because that time marks a gateway, a spiritual reset. The next chapter of your journey requires a lighter spirit and a renewed mind. You cannot step into new territory carrying old energy. The shift is calling for spiritual maturity, where you trust the process even when you can't trace it. You must prepare your spirit to be still, to listen, and to obey. There will be moments where your mind will want to reason everything, but reason cannot comprehend revelation. God's instructions in this season may not make sense, but they are divine strategies designed to position you for what's coming. Those who ignore the whispers of the Spirit will miss the move, but those who align in faith will rise into favor beyond comprehension. Preparation also means strengthening your connection with God. This is not the time to be distracted or spiritually asleep. The world may seem louder, but the chosen ones must grow quieter, not in weakness, but in discernment. Spend time in prayer, meditation, and solitude. Clear your spiritual frequency so you can hear the voice of divine guidance clearly. God is about to give new assignments, new revelations, and new directions, but only to those whose hearts are tuned to his signal. Just like an eagle senses the storm before others do, you too must sense the spiritual shift and soar above the turbulence. Don't resist the changes, rise with them. The storm is not sent to break you, it is sent to lift you higher. And yes, the transition may feel uncomfortable. Growth always does. When a seed breaks through the soil, it experiences resistance. When a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly, it must first endure the confinement of the cocoon. Likewise, your current challenges are not punishment, they are transformation. You are being stretched because you are about to expand. The pain you're feeling is not a sign that God has left you. It's a sign that he's about to reveal himself in a new dimension of your life. Before every great elevation, there's always a divine shaking. You may not understand it now, but one day you'll look back and see that the very pressure you tried to escape was the power that pushed you into purpose. The shift that's coming will expose everything that is false and illuminate everything that is true. It will separate the real from the imitation, the faithful from the fearful, the believers from the doubters. This is why God is telling you to prepare your spirit. Because when the energy of this shift intensifies, only those rooted in faith will stand firm. You cannot afford to be half awake in this season. You must walk by faith, not by sight. Trust that every event, no matter how small, is being woven into your destiny. The things you once chased will start chasing you. The things that once confused you will start making sense. What once felt like loss will be revealed as divine exchange. So before 4 November arrives, cleanse your spirit. Release grudges. Let go of bitterness. Forgive who you need to forgive, even if they never apologize. Detach from what drains your peace and reconnect with what fuels your faith. Start speaking life into your days, declaring that you are ready to receive the new. The universe responds to readiness, not resistance. You are stepping into a period where faith will be rewarded and obedience will open supernatural doors. God has heard your prayers, but he's waiting for your preparation. The blessing cannot manifest in a place still filled with clutter. Empty yourself of doubt so you can be filled with divine certainty. This is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of your elevation. The shift is coming whether you're ready or not, but those who prepare will not just survive it, they will be transformed by it. What's coming is not a storm to destroy you, but a wind to lift you. The same force that seems to shake your foundation is the same force that will carry you into your destiny. Get ready, align your spirit, and stay anchored in faith. Because once this shift arrives, life as you know it will never be the same again. Yo yar markat fadia 5R, ladies and gentlemen, understand this. You are marked for divine favor. From the very beginning, before you took your first breath, God placed his hand upon your life. You are not ordinary. You are not forgotten. You are chosen, anointed, and set apart for something far greater than what you can see right now. The struggles you faced were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to reveal the mark of divine favor upon you. When God chooses someone, he doesn't always give them an easy path. He gives them a powerful purpose. The very battles that made you question your worth were, in truth, proof that heaven had already stamped your destiny with favor. The enemy doesn't fight what isn't valuable. He only targets what carries divine purpose. So if your life has felt like a war zone, it's because you carry something sacred within you. Divine favor doesn't always look like blessings at first. Sometimes it looks like isolation, rejection, and confusion. But hidden behind those moments is God's hand, removing what could limit your destiny. People left you not because you were unworthy, but because your purpose required separation. God had to isolate you to elevate you. Many couldn't go where you're going, and the pain of their absence was part of your preparation. Divine favor doesn't come wrapped in comfort. It comes wrapped in challenges designed to awaken the greatness within you. The rejection you faced was actually redirection. The doors that closed were God's way of protecting you from pathways that would have delayed your calling. You didn't lose people. You were released from attachments that could not carry your divine assignment. When God marks a person with favor, everything about their journey becomes supernatural. Things that should have destroyed them end up strengthening them. Setbacks become setups. Pain becomes purpose. What others see as misfortune becomes divine formation. Look back at your life. How many times did you think it was over, yet you still rose? That wasn't luck, that was divine favor. When others fell, you stood. When others gave up, you kept going. When you thought you were finished, grace found you again. That is what divine favor does. It makes the impossible possible. It causes you to bloom in barren seasons. It lifts you when logic says you should have fallen. You've been carried by an unseen force, guided by divine protection, and shaped by heavenly design. God's favor doesn't just bless your life. It transforms your perception. When you understand that you are marked, you stop chasing validation from people who can't see your value. You stop explaining your calling to those who can't comprehend your purpose. Divine favor separates you from the crowd, and that separation can feel lonely. But remember, diamonds are formed in pressure and revealed in isolation. You are being refined for greatness. God has been training you in silence so that when the time comes, your light will speak louder than words. The people who once overlooked you will soon witness what divine favor looks like in motion. When God decides to elevate you, no one can stop it. You won't have to force anything. What's meant for you will recognize you. This is why your journey has been so unique. You were never meant to fit in, you were meant to stand out. Divine favor demands distinction. While others were moving fast, you were told to wait, not because you were behind, but because God was customizing your blessing. He wasn't preparing the blessing for you, He was preparing you for the blessing. The delay was your development. The struggle was your spiritual schooling. And now, as this new season dawns, you are being positioned for divine recognition. Everything that once worked against you will start working for you. The same people who doubted you will soon bear witness to the power of God's favor over your life. You are about to walk into rooms that your RA Sume can't explain. Opportunities will appear out of nowhere. The things that once seemed impossible will unfold with ease, because when divine favor moves, it opens doors no man can shut. Your name will be mentioned in spaces you've never entered. Blessings will chase you not because you're lucky, but because you're chosen. God's favor breaks the rules of logic. It defies time. It overturns what was meant for harm and transforms it into purpose. You don't need to compete or compare. Your portion is already secured. What's written for you carries your spiritual signature. No one else can claim it. But understand this divine favor requires humility. It's not given for personal pride, it's given for divine purpose. The blessings coming your way are meant to glorify God through your story. When He raises you, stay grounded in gratitude. Remember where He brought you from. Use your favor to uplift others, not to boast. The more you bless others, the more your favor multiplies. Divine favor flows through those who give freely, love deeply, and trust completely. As long as your heart remains pure, the flow of blessings will never stop. So, before 4th of November, recognize the mark upon your life. You don't need to chase signs. You are the sign. You don't need to prove yourself. Your favor will speak for you. Stand tall in faith and declare, I am chosen. I am marked. I am favored. Because once you accept that truth, your energy shifts, your frequency rises, and heaven aligns every circumstance to mirror your inner belief. The world may not understand it, but divine favor isn't meant to be understood. It's meant to be witnessed. You are the evidence of God's goodness, a living testimony that His hand still moves in mysterious ways. So lift your head, strengthen your faith, and prepare your heart. For when divine favor marks your life, no man, no obstacle, no delay can undo what heaven has decreed. You are not waiting for favor. You are favor in motion. Voit was and while so be averly, ladies and gentlemen, there comes a sacred moment in every believer's life when the veil is lifted, and suddenly everything that once seemed confusing, delayed, or hidden begins to make divine sense. That moment is approaching for you now. You have walked through seasons of silence, through questions without answers, through nights of uncertainty wondering, God, what are you doing? But hear this, what was hidden will soon be revealed. The mysteries that surrounded your journey are about to unfold before your eyes. The pieces that never seemed to fit are aligning perfectly in divine order. Every unseen battle, every unanswered prayer, every quiet tear has been recorded in heaven, and now the appointed time for revelation is near. You have been in a period of spiritual concealment, not punishment. God was hiding you, protecting you, and shaping you in private for the glory that is about to be made public. Sometimes, God conceals what He's building because revelation without preparation leads to destruction. You may have wondered why no one noticed your potential, why doors stayed shut, or why the vision you carry felt invisible to others. But understand this, the hidden phase was necessary. Seeds grow underground before they ever break the surface. Diamonds are formed under pressure unseen by human eyes. Likewise, your development was happening in the unseen, where heaven was nurturing the roots of your destiny. God doesn't reveal what He's still refining. He wanted to strengthen your character before displaying your calling. The silence you endured was not neglect. It was the sacred stillness where divine power was being shaped within you. And now, as this new season opens, what was hidden will begin to emerge. The things that once confused you will suddenly make sense. The prayers you thought went unanswered will reveal their divine timing. The delays will show themselves as direction. You will look back and realize that the pain you went through had purpose. It was leading you here, to this exact moment of awakening. The people who misunderstood you, the situations that rejected you, and the opportunities that seemed to vanish were all part of a greater plan. God was not withholding, He was positioning. He allowed misunderstanding because He needed to protect you from premature exposure. Had He revealed you before the time was right, you might have settled for something smaller than your purpose. But now, as divine timing aligns, everything that's been kept in the dark is being brought into the light. Revelation doesn't just mean God showing you new things. It means God showing you to the world in a new way. You are about to be recognized for what you carry. The anointing, the wisdom, the resilience, and the light within you are about to be seen. You will no longer be overlooked, because the time of hiding has ended. When God reveals someone, no power on earth can conceal them again. What He is about to do through you will not be quiet. It will speak loudly of His glory. The same people who questioned your silence will witness your elevation. The same spaces that once rejected you will make room for you. The favor that was hidden in your waiting season is about to unfold before everyone's eyes. But remember, revelation is not only for recognition, it's for responsibility. When God reveals, He entrusts. He exposes what was hidden not to glorify you, but to glorify Himself through you. He will reveal your purpose, but He will also require your obedience. He will show you why things happened as they did, but He will also ask that you move in humility, knowing that what you now understand is grace, not merit. The greater the revelation, the deeper the surrender. What's coming to light is not just opportunity, it's calling. And with calling comes the sacred duty to walk in faith, integrity, and love. In this unveiling season, clarity will replace confusion. You will begin to understand the why behind the waiting. The truth will rise to the surface about people, situations, and even your own heart. Don't resist what is revealed, embrace it. Sometimes revelation exposes uncomfortable truths. God will show you who's real, who's loyal, and who's not meant to continue with you. He will uncover hidden motives, secret envy, and divine connections that have been waiting to meet you. All of this is for your protection. The light of revelation burns away deception and prepares the path for destiny. What once was fog will become crystal clear. You will no longer guess. You will know. And when that knowing comes, peace will follow. The anxiety of uncertainty will lift because revelation brings rest. When you understand what God is doing, you stop fighting what He's allowing. You trust the flow, knowing that His plan is always perfect, even when it felt painful. Before 4 November, prepare your heart for this unveiling. Spend time in silence and gratitude, because revelation doesn't come through noise. It comes through stillness. Be ready to receive insight, confirmation, and divine understanding. New doors will open, but more importantly, your eyes will open. You will see yourself not as broken or forgotten, but as chosen and destined. Ladies and gentlemen, what was hidden is not lost. It was only protected until you were strong enough to handle it. God is about to reveal the purpose behind the pain, the blessing behind the delay, and the meaning behind every closed door. The light is breaking through, and your understanding will expand beyond what you ever imagined. Walk into this revelation season with faith, for what's about to be revealed will confirm what your spirit already knew. That you were never forsaken, never forgotten, and always part of a greater divine plan. Steeped INTO obediency and XPT morales, ladies and gentlemen, as you stand at the threshold of this new season, one truth must take root in your soul. Obedience is the bridge between promise and manifestation. You have prayed, you have waited, you have believed, but now God is saying, it is time to act. The door to your next chapter will not open by wishing or worrying, it will open through obedience. When you take the step God has placed before you, even when you don't understand it, you position yourself for divine miracles. Obedience is not always easy. It demands trust, faith, and surrender. It asks you to move when logic says wait, to believe when evidence says doubt, and to act when fear says freeze. Yet, it is through those moments of complete trust that heaven responds with power. Every miracle recorded in history began with one act of obedience. One person saying, "Yes, Lord," even if I don't understand. God's instructions rarely come with explanations. He doesn't always reveal the full plan, because faith is built in the spaces where certainty ends. When he told Noah to build an ark, there was no rain. When he told Abraham to leave his homeland, there was no map. When he told Peter to cast his net again, there were no fish in sight. Yet each of them obeyed, and through their obedience, the miraculous unfolded. The same divine principle applies to your life right now. The miracle you've been praying for is tied to the instruction you've been hesitating to follow. God has already spoken, through intuition, dreams, scripture, or that persistent nudge in your spirit. But now he's waiting on your obedience. Miracles do not happen because we wish for them. They happen because we move in faith. Before 4th of November, there is something God is asking of you. To let go, to forgive, to take a leap, to speak truth, to trust again, or to walk away from what no longer aligns. Whatever it is, it's your key to unlocking the next dimension of blessings. You may think obedience is small, but in the spiritual realm, it shifts mountains. When you obey, you are saying, "God, I trust your wisdom more than my understanding." That posture of surrender invites divine intervention. Heaven moves when faith moves. God cannot pour new blessings into hands still clutching the old. To step into obedience is to open your spirit to receive what has been waiting for you all along. Understand this. Obedience often precedes understanding. The path doesn't become clear until you start walking. Many wait for signs before they move, but signs often follow movement, not the other way around. The water did not part until Moses stretched his staff. The walls of Jericho did not fall until the people marched. The miracle of provision did not appear until the widow poured her last bit of oil. Obedience activates divine timing. What you call risk, heaven calls readiness. The moment you take that leap, the universe rearranges itself to support your faith. You were never meant to figure out the whole journey. You were meant to trust the one who guides it. And yes, obedience can be uncomfortable. It often demands you to leave the familiar and step into the unknown. But remember, miracles never happen in comfort zones. God will always call you to a place where you must depend entirely on Him. That's where His glory is revealed. When you step out, you make room for God to step in. The moment you obey, the atmosphere shifts. Angels move. Energy aligns. Barriers crumble. What seemed impossible suddenly becomes possible. The act of obedience is like striking a divine match. It ignites the fire of miracles. But obedience is not just about doing, it's about trusting. Trusting the process, the timing, and the purpose behind every instruction. Sometimes God will ask you to do things that seem illogical, to walk away when your heart wants to stay, or to stay silent when your ego wants to speak. These are tests of alignment. When you pass them, you rise into new spiritual authority. You stop chasing blessings and start embodying them. You realize that miracles are not random. They are the natural result of living in obedience to divine law. Every time you choose faith over fear, you shift closer to your destiny. This season is not about waiting for signs. It's about becoming one. When you move in obedience, your life becomes a living testimony. Others will look at you and see what faith in action can do. Your story will inspire those still afraid to take the leap. That's why God chose you to hear this message now, because He knows the miracle is ready, but He's waiting for your whys. The moment you act, the floodgates will open. Provision, healing, opportunity, and restoration will flow in ways you could never orchestrate on your own. So, take this as your divine confirmation. Obey without hesitation. If your spirit has been nudged to make a move, do it. If your heart knows it's time to release something, release it. Don't let fear steal what faith has prepared. Your miracle is already in motion. All it needs is your obedience. Step forward with courage, not because you know what's ahead, but because you trust who's leading you. Ladies and gentlemen, miracles are not found by the hesitant. They are revealed to the obedient. When God sees you walking in faith despite uncertainty, He commands the impossible to bow before you. Every act of obedience builds momentum in the unseen realm until suddenly everything breaks open. You are not waiting on a miracle. Your miracle is waiting on you to move. So step boldly, act faithfully, and expect divine wonders to unfold before your very eyes. For the one who walks in obedience never walks alone. They walk hand in hand with God, and with Him, all things are possible.